Welcome to the Jira Life, the place to find news, events, and interviews with the Atlassian community's movers and shakers. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life chose us. Thank you to Revyz for backing us up and making the Jira Life possible.
Hey guys.
It's the home team.
Yeah, it's featuring special guest, just us.
Just us.
Feel free to run now.
Every once in a while, we want to, keep it interesting for y'all, and we also have our own opinions.
Alex, take a pause there and think about what you just said. We want to keep it interesting, so thank you.
I want to keep you guessing. Then maybe that's the right word. We want to keep guessing. Who's going to be on today?
We love our guests. There you go. That's
now, to be clear, we actually had another guest scheduled for today, one we were very excited for, but they had something come up, so we had to reschedule them for later in the year. They're still going to be on. We're still super excited about them, but this was very much oh, crud, what do we do now? Oh, Sarah had this idea. Let's run with it.
Exactly. So yes, that's how some of the show happens.
So the success or failure of today's episode is resting on Sarah's shoulders.
This was interesting to read. Right today, I learned and thought I'd share it, and then they said, "Okay."
So Alex, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. Wouldn't you ask Sarah? Because it's Sarah's idea.
I mean, it's Sarah's idea. I want to see if you read the script.
I did click on the script in a folder for season 2 on the day of the 1st of August. We're talking about the Atlassian Marketplace monetization changes that have been rolling out or are rolling out or will be rolling out. And so they may or may not already be impacting you. I've seen it, but we're definitely going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly and what this means to you.
Yeah, I have already seen some of this on with clients as I'm in meetings with them already. So some of this is already out there and impacting customers as we speak.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be a pretty big change. It's an interesting change. I've spoken to a couple of marketplace vendors, so maybe we can take from different perspectives, right? From the customers and from the vendor's perspective. And I'm getting different opinions from different people. And I think it's going to be an interesting conversation to kind of see where the future of Atlassian is going with this. Because I have my own thoughts, independent of customers and marketplace vendors, that I'd like to run by you all.
Now, I do want to point something out in chat, because Sean's already referenced it. Alex, what are the chances we're going to get a shaky cam today?
Probably not. I mean, it's been shaking. We got 16 earthquakes since this morning. So we've been shaking the whole day, but we've only felt one, and we've had 3 over a 3 or bigger. So you don't really feel them unless there's 3-0 and up.
So no tsunamis by you?
I'm too far inland. I mean, the tsunami would have to be enormous. It'd have to be like 100-foot tsunami to get anywhere near.
Now, to be clear, we always do a pre-show chat, just hanging out, having fun, talking with each other. And this one was about, because me and Alex are famously afraid of the weather or disaster each other gets. So I'm entirely nonchalant about tornadoes. Alex, not so much. When it comes to earthquake, it is the exact opposite situation.
I'm just used to the rattling. I used to live by have y'all ever heard of Camp Pendleton?
Yes.
The bomb explosions, they would rattle the house, and so you just never knew if it was a earthquake or the bomb rattling, and they go through a lot of bombs. So
I lived on Redstone Arsenal, so we had a lot of missile tests going on in the middle of the night.
I'm just used to the ground shaking. It's normal for me.
Yep. Unfortunately, there's similar games in other cities like fireworks or gunfire. So, we all have our, what was that? And then I grew up very close to Boeing. Boeing. I had to check my memory right now. It's Boeing.
Was it McDonnell Douglas?
McDonnell Douglas.
Just be careful what you say right now, because remember, Boeing
killed their whistleblowers.
I am not baiting him. I am only saying that also living near a place where they make a lot of military aircraft there was always rumblings and noises that you're like, It's what?
My younger brother is about 20 years younger than me. And at one point he was watching some cartoon, some Genius Sisters, and I don't remember the full details of it, but I do remember this quote where the Genius Sisters had to go out. The recent explosion was non-nuclear. Repeat, this recent explosion was non-nuclear. And I felt like I've heard that at some point living our Redstone Arsenal.
That's surprising.
I got to when I was in St. Louis, I got to hear the F-18s and 15s taking off
Yeah.
during testing, so that was always fun. Down in San Diego, when I worked in the San Diego base, we'd hear the Miramar, again more F-18s taking off and landing, and F-22s and stuff. So it was fun. It's cool. And then when I was in college, I worked on C-17s, and those have like 4 humongous engines, and listening to that take off is awesome.
Now, relatedly, but also very differently, now I live near the zoo, and I haven't personally heard it yet. So I'm about 2 miles from our zoo here. And a friend of mine is similar, and she's more familiar with lion roars. And apparently, I could also hear lion roars now where I live. We're talking about like things you can hear from far away, because that's what I'm doing.
Well, before we wrap up and jump back into the topic, on the topic of California, little shameless plug. We are looking for call to speakers right now for a conference we're going to be doing. There's 2 conferences actually. One August 22nd. It's going to be AI topic. And so if you want to come and listen to Atlassians come and talk to us about AI, there's going to be an event right like across the street from LAX. And it's a 1-day thing from 7 to 7, August 22nd. So sign up for that. We'll put some links during the chat here. And then on October 22nd through the 24th, we're going to be at the Long Beach Hilton, very close to the beach, very close to fake islands that drill. And they actually look like islands, but they're just drilling oil. But yeah, we're going to be down there, and we're going to have a 3-day event learning about Forge, Jira administration, Atlassian administration, and Agile project management. So it's going to be a fun 3 days. We need a few more speakers. We have a lot, but we need a couple more. And so if you're interested in being a speaker, let me know. And we're opening up for some sponsors. We're building something really cool. You guys see it? You guys see what
Well, I've only seen your hand over it. Are you going to do that again?
You want the exclusive first look?
I think TGL needs the exclusive.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
These people have earned it. The
big book of Atlassian.
This will be handed out to every in-person attendee, and we're really excited. It's going to be about 150 to 200 pages. It's going to be really, really cool, and we're just going to have like playbooks, checklists, guides, run books, glossaries, keywords, everything you need to know to be successful with the Atlassian tools. We're going to stick it all in there.
And I'm going to give a little support to that. When I first started my current position and I got to go to some training, and they sent me a big book of stuff to go along with the online training. And I admit, I utterly scoffed at it. I was like, seriously, you're sending me this book? Like, really? Holy cow. Do I reference it just all the freaking time? Right? Like, hey, what was that thing? And I go back and I look it up, and it's easier sometimes than doing a little search on those things. So highly recommend that giveaway.
Yeah.
And just one more thing before we hop into the topic. I feel we need to give a big thanks to Revyz for backing us up and supporting what we do on the Jira Life. If you haven't and you need a backup solution, definitely check out Revyz at revyz.io, I believe it is.
And if you're at Atlassian, let me know if I can keep this title.
What is it? Better to ask forgiveness than permission?
That's what I figured. When 150 people, we are expecting 150 people. So if y'all want to come down to SoCal, again, I'll put some links here throughout the conversation. But yeah, definitely sign up and come to SoCal. We'll have a special rates for the hotel. Oh, the event's free. You just need to get your accommodations. But we'll have a special group rate for the hotels. So both events are totally free. You just got to find your way to the events.
So,
right. Atlassian pricing then. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Let's talk about the status quo before we talk about what's changing. Now, Atlassian has not changed their plugin monetization strategy much since they introduced apps, plugins, whatever you want to call them. I think they were called add-ons at one point as well.
Plugins?
But
Did we say plugins? We said plugins, right?
Plugins.
plugins
what I
was the
call them.
original name, I think. But the idea is you always had to license them at the same level of your Jira license. So back in server, if you had a 100-person license for Jira, all your add-ons also had to be licensed for 100 people, even if only 5 people were using them. And
Mhm.
it was a one-size-fits-none situation.
And if you were fortunate enough to be an enterprise customer, you can kind of, work your way through some gray areas and get better pricing for your plugins, but you're paying an arm and a leg for enterprise, so I don't know that you'd be saving anything.
You also could work with solution partners who would be able to get you occasionally some deals, but that was also on a very much case-by-case basis.
But that's status quo, right? That's, like you mentioned, that's been serving us well for many a decades.
About 10 or
It
so
is now.
years.
I was gonna say a millennia, but that's too far. But Atlassian, was it the beginning of the year? They started kind of flirting around with this new pricing model that they wanted to change things up and stir the pot a little. And so that's kind of what we're gonna get into. What is this new change that's coming up? So, what exactly is changing? What's going on here?
So, in a word, everything. And I'm going to start with the change that is already out now. We are already seeing in the marketplace, and that is multiple license tiers for an app. So, if you don't need all the features, you only need a subset of features, you might get lucky and only have to pay a smaller price versus the full-blown here's everything app.
And those are all the app developers' decisions, right? So if they want to create editions of those things, and those don't necessarily align up with, if you have Jira Standard, then you would have this edition of that particular app. So those app editions can be whatever you want on whatever Jira edition you have, right?
But so far I've only seen 2, and that's what I'm seeing in our little guide that Bob thankfully prepared for us in the wrong basic confluence. Me and Sarah are panicking like we're not seeing this as we're trying to pull up the script.
Let's just remind him again.
But I have seen this, and I've had it. We were talking about a new app my client was considering, and it came up that the feature they wanted, the one feature they wanted, was on the advanced tier.
Yes. Because you sneak them in there, right?
How do you feel about that? Because I have some thoughts, but what are you feeling?
Honestly, I wasn't surprised, because this was like their most popular feature. Of course, is going to be the one you pay extra for.
But are vendors taking the features that they used to previously have on standard and then paywalling some, or are they developing new features and putting paywalls behind that?
Probably both.
I think it depends on the individual developer, what they're doing. I know some I've talked to have said, okay, new features, we got this new feature coming out, it's now on the advanced version. But I've known some who's like, okay, our standard one's a light version, so we're cutting out this feature, and this feature, and paywalling them.
Any thoughts, sir?
Well,
or observations?
I love an analogy. So
in the year 19...
Yes. Way back in the 19-somethings, before most of you would have bought a car, before most of you would have bought value.
We wanted a steering wheel.
And I'm sure it happened even prior to that. But I keep thinking about buying cars and how for forever you would go to a dealership, you'd pick out your base model, and then you would just get all the features that you wanted, and that order would go off, and it would be X amount of time and money to get that car tailored to your very, very specific needs. And then that became unsustainable at some level, right? So when they started bundling all your auto features then and getting all of the different, I keep wanting to say editions now because we're talking about editions. What are they called when you're talking about cars? All of the different, the packages, right? Yeah. So, or your standard model and your touring models and your SEs and your LEs and
But even
EXs
within that,
and
you
whatnot.
like, you know what blows my mind is when you spend like $150,000 on a Mercedes and you still have an upsell.
Right?
Like,
Mhm.
I already spent 150 grand. I just need 4 wheels and a steering wheel and a chair.
I mean,
Right.
I know Alex loves to talk about my truck. It's come up a few times on the podcast before, but we actually did get the specific package for my truck because it came with the advanced headlights that my
Right.
wife would not let me go without because she does all sorts of risk assessment as a job.
hmm And so that's right. So it's the same thing that happens is we all got used to that idea with cars and you're like, oh, there's that one feature I really, really want. And I mean, I've seen, maybe yes, you can add it on, but then you go, well, if I'm gonna get that, and for only, 10% more, I get all of this, then that all comes through.
But what about, I think the risk with doing this, right, is consumer fatigue. Because we get hit with these upsells from everywhere, it feels like Atlassian was like, I wouldn't say it was the only place I would save because buying the plugin by default is the upsell,
Mhm.
but you just have one option.
And I'm saying the opposite, though, that while there's a potential level of fatigue with it, there's also a history of just acceptance that as consumers, we've been trained that that's how things happen.
I mean, capitalism at its finest, right?
I don't love it all, right? I don't love it all. But
I
I
mean,
get it.
the term that I hear bandied about sometimes is something that's happened to Amazon and Netflix and Facebook, all this. And it's the term from Cory Doctorow called inshitification.
Into who?
Inshitification.
The heck
The
is that?
process typically of making something worse so you have an upsell to do. You make
There's
a
a word for
problem,
that.
then you sell the solution.
Yes. Like somebody was once talked about putting sparkles in syrup. And then the syrup becomes more attractive because it has sparkles. And meanwhile, the question was, who the hell needed sparkles in their syrup in order to make that stuff more
But
attractive?
now, if
People
you
wanna
want
eat it.
syrup without sparkles, don't you know that's a premium because that's pure syrup now.
You know what? As consumers, we're just a bunch of idiots
Yes.
because we enable this, right? Like, if we
Yes.
stop buying crap, people change. It's a supply and
That being
demand.
said, even though I've heard it, I don't think this is quite inshitification just yet. It has the potential, if the system is abused, to go that way. And again, I think it'll be on a vendor by vendor case basis what they choose to do with this. I think as a choice, as Alex so eloquently said earlier, are vendors paywalling existing features or are they paywalling new features?
So let me tell you of a vendor that I know that may or may not be visible in the background of our stream here. They're actually taking the opposite approach, and what they're doing is they snap their baseline at the advanced. So they snap their current rate today to be advanced, and that way, because I feel like as a consumer, again, I feel like I am now not getting a deal, right? I feel like great, now I just got to pay more. Versus, I think what this particular vendor here is doing is you're gonna get a deal because the most expensive tier has all the features. And I think as a consumer, I like that more. I'll go to story time too, Sarah. So I love detailing my car, and there's usually there's like 3 or 4 major detailing companies around me, and one's called Chemical Guys, which is pretty global. That you can find Chemical Guys everywhere. And there's another one that's very local to my area where I live. And I love going to the local one because even though they have the exact same prices, the guy like with his Sharpie like scratches out the list price and like it's your price. And it's like the same price as the other vendor, but I feel like I'm walking out saving hundreds of dollars every time I walk out of there, even though I'm spending the exact same amount. But I hate going to the Chemical Guy store because I always feel like I'm getting ripped off. I feel like I'm never getting a deal because I'm always paying full price for everything.
Right. How do you think Kohl's works?
Well, I mean, we've seen this even on Amazon where about 2 to 3 weeks before Amazon Prime, some things that are going to get these amazing discounts all of a sudden shoot up double whatever the discount's going to be. So by the time they apply that amazing discount, you're still paying more, but you feel like you got a deal.
I've seen people do this thing where like they can show the history of the code, and like you see the old price, and it's actually like the Amazon price is like $1 more than it was like 3 weeks before Prime Day.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and actually,
Amazon may be the worst about it, but Walmart does it. Before Black Friday, Target does it.
I've seen it this year for Target. Like everybody was like taking off the sticker, and you can see the old price was exactly the same price.
There was a men's clothing store that got hammered for that. I want to say like Men's Warehouse or something, when they would have their like buy one suit, get 2 suits free, because they would go around and mark up the one suits by like 3 times the cost. And I remember that was like a big thing.
You just gotta feel like you're getting a deal. So my advice to all the vendors here is like, work your strategy so that your end consumers feel like they're getting a deal.
Act now. And we're gonna throw in
like your prices now. Like your prices now. So when you come out with the standard tier that has less features, it's just the price of what they were already paying today. Is that what you're saying, Alex?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That is so anti-consumer. I'm not even going to begin to entertain it.
Yes, it is, which is always the challenge, right? Because we're both like products and commodities in effect ourselves, and we're also consumers. So we hate all the things that the sellers and marketers do, but we also know at a level they need to be done. And yes, we also wish it
the bigger problem though that we have here is that, I mean, we're comparing consumers, but I don't think it's fair to compare consumers to businesses, because the advantage that these marketplace vendors have now with this thing is you're so invested already in their plugins that you now need to do the bump to retain status quo.
And
so
that's just like my clients, where they're migrating from data center to cloud, and they needed this one feature, and well, that's now a bump. I think we did the math, and it's actually a little more than they were paying for their full DC version.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, sorry, then you get into drug dealing, right? Hey, have a taste of this sweet stuff. Don't you love
that's
using
the case with that 30-day trial,
right? And
if that's not free basing, I don't know what is.
You know what? I know there's a little bit of attention, but let's talk about that. Who at Atlassian came up with the 30-day trial?
I don't know, but
it's never enough. Have you ever not had to extend that 30-day trial?
Once. And it's a plugin that I had already used at a previous organization, so I knew the ins and outs of it already.
Right, but that first time you had to extend the trial.
Oh, that first time, absolutely.
I don't know why
we let that first organization have all the risks. So at the second organization, I'm like, oh, this is what we need. Here's how it works.
Yeah.
I could do training on it tomorrow.
My 2 cents, if I were to run Atlassian's Marketplace, I would get rid of the free trial part.
And do what?
Because it's not fair to the marketplace vendor. Like, let's take Revyz here as an example, right? You have the 30-day trial, so you go and use the app, you fix your problem, and then you stop. And like, there's no incentive. So it sucks.
Pathfire solved this.
Yeah, what did they do?
For their Jira, what is it called? Jira Project Manager, Project Configurator. Yeah.
Oh.
Jira
Configuration Manager.
Yes, that one.
Yay! What's the prize?
If you try and use it on trial to like migrate a project, and you just need the one project done between your sandbox and production, it won't let you do it until you have a full license.
So you paywall your trial?
You paywall your trial. You can see what it would do. You can go through most of the steps. You can't take that final action.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's almost like modern day gaming.
Yeah, there are so many. I mean, I guess the idea is like, hey, by trying it, you're going to see the value and then just continue, because you're going to need that value over and over and again. But absolutely, there are those one-off use cases where it's like, let me just do this.
And Appfire's like, no.
But Appfire is the size of Goliath. Can smaller vendors get away with that?
I mean, that's the question.
What does it take to do it?
Guts.
We've seen small organizations that have guts. I mean, think early days Old Street Solutions. Tell me Chris, with some of his marketing stunts, did not have guts.
Oh, those were definitely some guts there. Although RIP custom charts for Jira, because ever since they paywalled it, I'm getting to the point where I don't use custom charts for Jira anymore, but it's still the one tool that I recommend. But
I don't even recommend it anymore.
I know, but I just realized that today where somebody was asking me a question. I'm like, you know what? I haven't used it in like 2 years, ever since they started charging for it. So I don't know.
Right. But Alex, you've mentioned publicly, right? You'd like to build an app. What would you do? What would you do? So let's actually, we can do a little bit of this. So some of the things that they talked about in terms of potential pricing changes that are, a lot of these are not happening. They threw out the idea of having it per user. The ability.
I want to get back to that one at some point during this hour, because I have thoughts on that.
we definitely will. And then, or now I can't remember, or the JSM only, which I'm a fan of being able to do for JSM only.
Multi-instance licensing.
And the multi-instance. So Alex, in your app act.
I am I'm of the opinion that you pay one fee and what you see is what you get.
And that's per user? Like, so if
I would go as bold as one fee. One
fee. Oh, okay.
Just flat pricing.
Yeah, just $5,000 a year and go or something.
So how do you cover all your infrastructure costs when somebody's using it beyond?
You make your product good enough, and you have good engineering, and
okay,
you would make the fee at obviously a right fee to cover it all, right? But that's a whole different conversation we got to have about force charging for pricing later.
Yes. Okay.
We've already seen this where Atlassian had to go back and adjust their pricing because the feature became wildly popular. I mean, automation for Jira. You can't tell me that in the same team, right after they announced the usage limits, they're announcing how many billion of executions they've had for automation for Jira on cloud. You can't tell me those things aren't connected.
Oh, they're definitely connected.
Right.
No, I think my answer would be I would want to make my pricing feel like the user's getting value. I don't want them to feel like they're being upsold. I don't want them to feel, but again, I'm not a CEO of a company that runs multi-million-dollar, right? But that's how I would run it. That's how I run it. I would make it so that whatever it is I'm charging, the end user sees so much tremendous value that they're just like, I'll pay whatever you're charging me. Right. And so that's why I think of one fee, but you get everything. Like I don't like the idea that you have to like tier your features. Right. I don't get why Jira has free enterprises. Charge one price. What we used to do back in the day.
I'm gonna read Susan's offer, in case again anybody's on Spotify here, because I like it. I almost said Snapify. I much prefer snapping the baseline at the current offering and paywalling new features versus Atlassian's approach of removing key functionality from current plan and forcing upgrades to keep your as is.
Microsoft, they didn't get in trouble for it, but they did get called out for doing this recently, where for their Office 365 offering, they came out with tiers and they forced everyone onto a lower tier at the same price that removed features. And then if people wanted those features back, they had to volunteer to go up to the higher price. And that is
consumers were just a bunch of idiots. We got to stop
manipulation.
The only way to stop the madness is to speak with your wallets.
I mean, can you really do that though for tools you absolutely cannot get away with not having?
Well, so Sarah asked me about this app that I want to build, right? My biggest thing that's been going through my head is like, at what point do I build an app versus at what point do I build something with Forge and agents, right? Like, at what point, like, do I need a marketplace app to do something that a Forge app can do for me because it's low code, no code? That like an agent? Like, I don't know what Atlassian, like, I am very worried as a marketplace vendor right now.
On multiple levels, I imagine.
Oh yeah. But mainly because like this pricing thing is going to incentivize me as a consumer. Go, wait, I have this low code, no code solution that I'm already paying for. Like, let me see if I can ask it to do what I want it to do. And so what's
And
going to happen when people start figuring out, okay, Studio can actually help you build stuff that you don't need to go get an app for.
Mm-hmm.
And so did you bite more than you can chew? And
I think the question is and companies will be organizations will be answering this as we move forward with the Rovo revolution. How much am I willing to support in-house versus how much I'm willing to pay someone to support for me?
Was going to be my next question, friend. That's because I always, it is. What is that total cost of ownership? What do I want to maintain? Because there always ends up that one guy, that one person who knows that thing inside of out, and then
they leave the company.
And then you're like, well, we're hosed.
Right? I had that with a client at one point where they had an app that was developed in-house, and one of the Jira upgrades broke it, but the guy who had made it was long gone.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not know what we were going to do to keep this functionality because it was not offered in the marketplace.
Right. With one key exception here, though, these robo agents aren't built with any code. You're speaking to it.
I mean, yes, but someone still has to have the knowledge of how
Doesn't
to
matter.
make it.
No, you don't need to have any knowledge. You need to know how to speak English and know what you want.
I think you're overestimating the capability of a lot of people in the world.
Today, but this is where we're going. Right? This coding generation, what's his name? The guy that used to work at Tesla. The AI dude that used to work at Tesla, who's now at OpenAI, or used to be at OpenAI and then went to Tesla, was
that dude.
Andre Cruz or something. Karpathy or something rather.
You know more about that than I would.
One of the main frontiers of AI right now. He's saying that we're entering this generation of coding where it happens in natural language. There is a moment in time where your coding skills will be how well can you articulate English, and that's it.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying like it won't be that hard to maintain an application when you simply just speak to it in English. I need you to update yourself to do this now, and then it fixes itself because it wrote itself.
See, so you're hopping on my one UI bandwagon where you just sit there and talk to something.
Hey, a voice-enabled Jira has to happen one day.
But man, again, the havoc that could wreak.
But
potentially,
Andre,
I'm just waiting for the Alexa skill that supports it, because
dude, shut up about
Alexa. Causing some
Talk about
havoc.
an upsell with Alexa Plus. That thing's pissing me off. It still thinks I live in San Diego. I'm like, before I.
We've already mentioned this word several times, and if anyone is listening to the podcast on Spotify out loud, their devices are going crazy.
That's why I've changed the name of mine. And half the time people say Sarah and then Siri wakes up. So there you go, just for all of our Apple fans.
And just in case to cover all our bases, hey Google.
Hey Google.
Hey Siri.
All right, so what
about how dumb like all of this stuff, AI stuff is still?
In a minute. I want to get back. I know Rodney wanted to talk about the Forge pricing, right?
So
wait, they're charging for Forge?
No.
Not pricing.
The per user pricing that is proposed in the RFC we're talking about.
Oh.
If you don't know, we're talking about RFC 60 from Atlassian, just talking about some of the changes they're looking to make. And some of these have already been released, as we said.
What the hell?
Some of these I have not seen, but one thing in here that I found really, really interesting, because I've run into this problem at so many organizations, was rather than charging for all the users that you have licensed Jira, only charge for a subset of users that are actually going to use the app.
So I think that this is a horrible idea, but yet a beautiful idea at the same time.
I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I have had multiple conversations with different CEOs or VPs or executives over the years where, like, why do we have to pay for 10,000 people to use this app when we only have 50 people that are going to be using it?
Yeah, because you're paying 50 cents per user. So any smart vendor is not going to charge you $50 per user.
And granted, and that would be the right move to be able to support that app. But trying to explain that to a CEO or to someone who has the ultimate authority with the power of the purse is always challenging as a Jira admin.
But I think this is such a slippery slope. This is going to open up Pandora's box, and this is on a box that you want to open up.
So I don't think they are opening that. That seemed to be, I think, wait, now I forgot because I read so much of it that I forgot what the ultimate conclusion was. A lot of it was going to remain status quo. And I think there was a possibility that you could do a per user charge, and it's the same thing, right? We've had conversations on here, and Alex, just to tease you a little bit, right? I know there's been things that where you've said like, hey, Atlassian, just build, basically build this billing system. I want it like this. Atlassian, just go build it. And when you go read through the RFC and all the great comments from the marketplace on there, and the very thoughtful and detailed comments out there about what does this actually mean for us? What does that change? And with really a lot of emphasis too on not just what it meant for them, but what it meant for the consumers. And how incredibly challenging that could be. And frankly, most user groups I have gone to, shout out for the St. Louis one, we've talked a lot about that when we've had marketplace vendors out there, and it's a recurring question. Why can't I just pay for the users who are using it so I can just let them have it and nobody else can? And then the ramifications, because again, now we've got that consumer mindset and not that product owner, product builder, CFO mindset on there. And what that does is a lot to maintain, a lot to think about. You have a whole new product now that you're managing, and that's just your licensing product. Whereas right now, it's almost a set it and forget it.
But we already do some of this with like JSM, where not everyone who has a Jira license may have a JSM agent license. So if we're already doing some of this and the framework's already there to support it, and again, I'm not saying because this very much, as Alex pointed out, is a double-edged sword.
Yes.
But it would make some conversations easier, and the mechanisms to support it already exist within the tool set because we're already doing it for some things.
The part that I'm not happy about, though, is I've been talking with a few people that are assuming that this is already enabled and live. But as Bob pointed out a little bit earlier, this is optional. Like companies are going to have to opt into this model.
Yes.
And I don't know that a lot. If I was a vendor, I wouldn't opt in for it.
You would not?
I wouldn't, because I'm guaranteed if I'm going after an enterprise of 30,000 users, I'm guaranteed money for 30,000 people. Now it's 10 or 20.
Let's talk about Revyz. I think is a great example of choosing to opt in and how they opt in. Because if you looked at Revyz's offering, they have about 4 different apps in the marketplace, and that's so they could give very tuned in offerings for specific use cases.
But this is where a company like Revyz would be great with a flat fee, or maybe not a flat fee, but a usage fee at this point, right? If I was Revyz, I'd be charging like, all right, you get $5,000 a year or whatever is going to get you X amount of megabytes of backup. So if you want to have a giant Jira, we'll charge you $20,000. But it's not on a per user.
Sorry.
Well, it'd be based on the size of your usage of Jira, not the size of your users of Jira.
Yeah. And that was on that was one of the options that they were looking for feedback on, was that usage cost. So like, as we talk about assets, and you get X number of assets, and then you get, you can buy in bulk, as it were, is what kind of model that would look like. And sorry, just real quick, one of the things I think we're touching on is it's almost also not even like a one size fits all in terms of the fact that the apps do so many different things, and that their usage model and their payment models, I mean, they've done all the math, they've figured it all out, but that does open up possibilities for if your app
They've
is
done the
tiny.
math on models and predictions,
Yes.
not on behavior. I'm afraid that because what I'm hearing from if I put my end user hat on, is here's 1,000 different options, 1,000 different ways, and I got that. You guys ever do those pictorials or those NPCs or whatever? What are they called? The permutations, where you have the C and the P. You guys ever did permutations in middle school and high school?
We went.
Alex, I think you're underestimating how long it's been for some of us.
Permutations and combinations. It's like if you take a lock, like if you have a 4-digit pin, you have 4 to the power 4 to whatever of all the possibilities. Well, if you have 1,000 apps and every app can now have like 20, 30 different ways to get configured,
Exactly.
you can have this many more options. There we go. Combinations versus permutations. You're gonna have all of these options to fine tune the Atlassian environment that's right for you. That's gonna be overwhelming.
Unless Robo does it all. Problem solved. End of conversation. I'm kidding. Ha ha ha. Nobody's laughing.
Your locker is a permutation locker.
Chris Rogers, Chris, I want to point out that depends on what kind of lock you have. If your lock is one of those that have the 4 dials and you dial each unit in, that is a combination lock.
Just don't age yourself, Ronnie. But the problem still is
broken into those locks more often than I've had the other kind.
Ronnie, there's a reason why In-N-Out is one of the most popular restaurants in the world. It has nothing to do with the fact that their fries are the worst fries on earth. It has everything to do with they have 3 menu options. And that's it.
Again, Alex, I think you're overestimating how big California is versus the rest of the world.
Okay,
hey,
how about
they're coming to Tennessee.
We also have another example of that would be Cane's. Cane's offers chicken tenders, and you
chicken
can
tenders
get
and bread,
1 through 4 of them, along with
bread.
coleslaw, French fries,
bread,
and the best bread
in the
We
world.
do a whole show just on the bread at Cane's, and if y'all haven't had it, figure out a way to get it.
Bread is
anyway.
all right, but
Ooh,
the
no.
tenders, speaking as a I see how it's going to be.
Sorry, I couldn't.
I see how it's going to be.
I have no control on that, so that was
you
not
pissed
me.
off Sarah. That's over. You're off the show.
Okay, wait. What
I
is?
know it was Alex. I saw his hand on his mouse.
Right. So okay, wait. So who has the better tenders?
Well, ain't Cane's because they don't have any flavor.
I can click the button again, Ronnie. In the chat, if you want me to.
No.
And
You're
that's
not
how
the
we
only
become
one.
the childish, foolish Jira Life.
All right.
But anyways,
Solvers?
look,
Mhm.
back to the topic. People prefer simplicity. All the companies
I'll
have
give you-
simplicity.
As bad as your example is, because again, I think you're overestimating California versus the rest of the world. You do have a point with the basic principle that people do prefer simplicity. What is that called?
The Henry Ford model. You can have any color you want as long as it's black.
No, it's something like choice paralyzation or
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
analysis paralysis, where
And
you have so many options, you just fail to pick any.
And that is why you need the bundles, why they need to package up all the, all the things, because if you had to sit there and try to fine tune every little feature that you wanted, that could be overwhelming. But also there's like 9,000 different flavors of
But from a
jellies and
capitalist
things now.
perspective, that's going to be awesome. You can fine tune everything.
I don't know.
From an end, I think if I had to summarize this conversation, these last 45 minutes, the consumer's going to lose here.
Yeah.
Any way we want to
They'll
spend it, the
win with
consumer,
all the features.
no, but they're paying, like the pocket of the consumer is going to lose here. Atlassian's stock is going to go up. Vendors' pockets are going to go up because they're going to charge whatever they need to charge. And they can get away with it now because, oh, what a great time to reevaluate our pricing model now that we have everybody's changing their price. Because
Right.
it sucks to always increase your price, but now everybody's changing. So you're going to do it. Now's the time.
Yep. And so Lena's saying, hey, let's just ask Rovo, what apps do I need?
But again,
build it for
Rovo
me.
is a paid feature. So another upsell.
Wait, did you say Rovo is a paid feature?
I mean, you have to have it's included with any paid
Right.
tier.
Right.
Because we had to convince Alex to say during Team 25.
Let's be honest, though. Rovo will be a paid standalone product.
And it'll go back to not being supported again or not being used again.
Yeah, but by then they would have already done the whole cocaine thing. You would have built so many agents that you're not going to be able to live without it.
You're saying we're having our free sample right now?
Yeah, because they already tried to sell it to you a la carte and it didn't work.
And yeah, so they couldn't get the data. No, it's something. Well, I mean, there are those credits or whatever they are that are already associated with it. There are technically some limits to it currently. I've never been able to decipher all of that, but well, I don't know if anybody follows me on LinkedIn. I also said that I think Rovo will become Atlassian. Basically, that it'll just be an AI and nothing else.
Jira will become Rovo.
Atlassian.
You think all of it?
Yeah, Confluence will be Rovo.
Isn't that's a little bit, that reminds me of have you guys seen Oppenheimer yet?
Yeah.
When they go and talk to Einstein because they realize that if they start off the chemical reaction, like it might not stop and it might collapse the entire universe. So we're in a that kind of moment for Atlassian right now because the Rovo is contained, but it has the potential to.
It becomes everything. And frankly, well, getting way off on the tangent, then there's just going to be all these AI providers and then that's it. And then you just pick your AI provider to do all your stuff and all the apps, all the things, all those, they don't.
You're just going to talk to the air and things are going to magically happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to pay or not pay. And then it gets worse. How dystopian is this? And then either you can afford
Terminator.
it or you can't. And then, we're in Ready Player One. What can I say?
Yeah. I'm right with Chris. It's Terminator.
Exactly.
You better start making your sacrificial offerings to the AI overlords right about now.
I would like to point out that out of everyone on the screen, only one of us is a cyborg.
That's you, right?
Yes.
Oh, I was hoping it was me.
Nope, I have an implant, so I am part computer.
Okay, yes, part cyborg.
So you and I are the most organic things in this call.
It is possible.
Although I don't know.
What
are we going to talk about
last week, and they specifically mentioned the implant. I'm like, yes, I know it's there. You don't have to tell me on every X-ray.
Right. But I am wondering, you guys, if in a couple weeks we do have just the chicken tender show, and we just sit there and review chicken tenders because I think this is.
I think that should be a bonus show for the members.
I got at least 5 or 6. I think I got 5 different chicken places. Like, what if I said Zaxby's to you? What would happen?
They're all right.
Okay.
I've only had Culver's like once or twice.
I haven't had Culver's tenders.
I haven't had Culver's since I lived in St. Louis.
But I have them here. I've been to Wisconsin twice in the past 2 years, the homeland of Culver's. So it's good.
After that, we'll have to do some sliders with that White Castle because I haven't had White Castle since I was in St. Louis either.
That is not a bad thing.
We keep talking about having this TJL summit somewhere, and we just need to settle on which tenders place it's going to be at.
I'm gonna message you guys about something.
Well,
and
one
then
that's not in St. Louis because Rodney will not enter the land of the Lou.
I'm not going to get onto it on show. Just understand there are reasons, and
If
the rest of the
Lacey-
PGL crew
right.
know what they are.
And if Lacey has any ideas on what would be a good idea, she could put them in the chat too.
By the way, folks, with this comment here on the summit at the Vegas Sphere, if you want to experience the Sphere but don't want to do the Sphere, go to DCA and ride California, the Soaring over California, or I guess not just soaring, and you get the same experience.
Wait, what?
Have you ever done soaring either in Disney World or in California?
Oh, that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's the same experience.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't pay again to go to the Sphere. It was a good experience, but it's not so much better than California's or soaring over California.
So we've gone wildly off topic again,
Yes.
as we are wont to do.
It's more interesting.
Do we have anything we want to add on to the marketplace changes that have been happening here lately?
I would say if you're a customer, audit your really audit these things, right? Because your pricing is going to get so much more different. And if you're a customer and you're preparing for annual budgets, because I know a lot of companies, depending on where you are in your annual cycles, right? Like August, September is when you start thinking about January budgets.
Yep.
This stuff starts rolling out over the next couple months, right? I'm assuming we're going to get more news in Barcelona and definitely even more news by April of next year for Team 26. So I would start bumping in an extra 20-30% into your Atlassian budget if I was you.
Again, Atlassian lawyers, don't at me. This is a pattern at this point. But
Yeah,
we all
I don't know.
October is coming up.
I am not privileged to any information. Atlassian,
We are not privileged. We have not seen anything, but it's a pattern. We know October is coming up. You might as well start factoring some app.
Yeah, it'd be like at this point
into that.
At this point, Atlassian should be mad if we talk about them price increases in October. Like if Apple would be mad that an iPhone's coming in September. Like it's gonna happen.
You know this is what's going to happen. Alex, you've already been talking about when to get the new iPhone ahead of Barcelona.
Yeah, like we're going to Barcelona. I already told Roddy. Yeah, I'm hoping I get the new iPhone delivered on time for the Barcelona trip because it's gonna happen, right? So Atlassian's increasing their prices in October, and we expect more announcements on that in like 60 days.
Yes, because they did the math last show.
King Bob here does have excellent point. Considering 3/5 of the team, well, 4/5 now, I think, Alex, works for solution partners of some variety. Talk to your solution partners about your app pricing, your product pricing, all this. See if they can help you out. And if you need solution partner, you don't have one currently, I have 4 great recommendations for you.
Just right off the top of our heads, we do.
Yeah. I can't say them all out loud because they're going to be an ordered list, and I'm going to be.
We need to be explicitly clear. As of 2:54 p.m. Pacific time, I have not checked any emails from Atlassian. So everything that has been said in this episode has been done with absolutely no information or prior information of anything other than speculation from patterns from Atlassian.
That's a good point.
For the record.
I was gonna say, are you like legally disclaiming something right here?
Just... I think Alex just checked the email.
You're not supposed to disclose certain information, but I'm like, I have not checked any email.
No. Wait, did you mention the date? It's July 31st.
It's on July 31st, 2:54 p.m. Pacific time. I have not checked any emails from.
None of us have, to be clear.
Nope.
Not just Alex. I know he's CYA, but we need to cover the entire show. None of us have.
Nope.
Because if he's saying what I think he's saying, I have a very interesting email waiting in my inbox, don't I?
I think we all do. He's going to be listening.
I was like, I'm looking over at my email, and I'm like, I personally don't have anything, so I may not be on those lists.
Sean has to hold up a newspaper. I don't understand. Like, it's every October it happens. Like, this is what you got to budget for.
Yeah, this is a known. Them getting so upset about this because, okay, I think we need a story time here. Last year, I think it was actually during our 24-hour live stream,
which
we
would have
had
happened at the end of August, right? We're doing this towards the end of August.
That was the I think it was the
We
10-hour live
did
stream
it for
we did.
the Scott. We did it for the Scott farewell.
Yeah, Scott was, I think that was only a 10-hour live stream.
Yeah, 10-hour, yeah.
But we had a guest on. We're not going to say who because I don't want to get them in trouble. But they mentioned the price increase coming up
At that time.
And he said it because, again, this is a pattern. We all know what's going to happen. It was not based on any prior knowledge. Now, we should be clear. This guest works for a different partner than anyone who works on TGL works for. So different partner altogether. Likewise, TGL Media LLC is an entirely separate entity apart from any solution partner out there. Well, my solution partner got contacted by the Atlassian lawyers with some concerns. And we're like, I don't know why, because we're not a part of release team. And this was not done with any previous knowledge. This is just based on patterns. And the guest who said it is not even a part of release team.
Or associated with the Jira Life either.
Yeah. So do your research better.
Right. So again, when you're rewatching this Atlassian, we have zero knowledge coming into this conversation.
Right.
And Alex is not allowed to check his email during the show anymore.
And our robo overlords told us to do it, Tim says.
Dude, that's going to be an agent. I'm going to make an agent from Robo to say, can you tell me every time Atlassian's going to raise prices? Robo certainly's got to know, right?
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That would be something. That's something we got to put on the Jira Life website, like countdown to Atlassian's next annual increase, and we just reset it every 365 days because it's every October, people.
Right, and then just the or whatever the whatever day of October every year, the 5th day.
Well, I mean, we could take the average of all the days, which would be around the 15th.
Yes.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I would just blanket statement, right? It's October is Techtober, and it's Atlassian. You get new iPhones, you get price increases.
Is it before or after Team Europe?
I would just say it's October. It happens in October.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not always the same day in October, but it is in October.
Yeah.
It's Shocktober pricing.
So what's interesting you bring that up, because when Atlassian had the Atlas Camp, what was it, February this year? I think.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Right, like right before the Atlas Camp, like the week before, they announced the price increase for Forge. So if I was a betting person, they'll probably send communication out like right before, again, based on patterns Atlassian, based on your behavioral patterns from your communication team. I would suspect an email before.
I love how hard we're trying not to get sued.
Based on just patterns of Atlassian, where they sent out an email a week before Atlas Camp, I would suspect an email before a week out before Team 25 Europe. So
back on topic to the marketplace changes, folks. As you're doing your factoring, figuring Atlassian patterns being what they are, keep in mind your app prices are probably also going to go up by some factor. It'd be a great time to audit. Am I using what I have? Do I need this? Is there a cheaper option in the marketplace now? What am I actually using this for? All these questions. Is this something I can make Rovo do easily?
Right. That was why I put in there, we need the Rocket Money for apps. Rocket Money is the thing, right? Where it goes in and says, here's all your subscriptions. Which one do you want to cancel?
Well, that does bring us to the end of the hour. I think this has been a great episode. Hilarious episode.
Well, I'll let you know. We don't come back next week. You know what happened.
Yep.
And if you see that we're looking for work on Atlassian on our LinkedIn, you know what happened to.
Conspiracy theorist Alex at work always.
Better to be safe
I
than
mean,
sorry, right?
it's not much of a conspiracy theorist if we're all looking for work. So, that being said, everyone, thanks for watching. Alex, Sarah, thank you for being on today. Big thank you to Rovo for backing us up and supporting us. Okay, Revyz, apologies. Big thank you to Revyz for backing us up and supporting
that's how
us.
you end up with a looking for work, open to work item on LinkedIn.
Check them out at revyz.io. And as we always say here in the Jira Life, I think I killed Alex. We didn't choose the Jira Life. Jira Life chose us.
Maybe just a foreshadowing.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Jira Life. Our hosts are Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, Rodney, the Jira Guy Nissen, and Sarah, #I believe Sarah, right. Our producers are Robert King Bob Wen and Lena Ortiz. You can catch us as we record this podcast live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at The Jira Life. Be sure to join us and the other Jiramigos of the Peanut Gallery each week to ask questions, add your comments, and tell us what you're up to. If you can't join us live, you can still catch the replay on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell while you're watching. You can also find us as a podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you think this podcast deserves a rating, it would be much appreciated, as it will help others discover the Jira Life. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us. Thank you to Revyz for backing us up and making the Jira Life possible.